Welcome to the Morbid Hour.
Welcome.
Drum Smash 88
Welcome.
is here. How's it going, Drum Smash?
Going.
What's up, man?
Gonna give our favorite movie for each year in the 1980s, which is in my opinion, the best year for horror, best decade for horror. And then count down our top 5 favorite Ozzy Osbourne solo albums.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I would just like to say, when I said, hey, we should do a list for a favorite horror for every year in the 80s, I knew it would not be easy, but damn difficult.
Yeah.
But damn.
Yeah, it's tough to narrow it down to just one, especially for a few of the different years.
Mm-hmm.
What a phenomenal decade of horror.
Absolutely. The fact that it's so
many
hard is a testament to that. If we were doing like the 90s or something, it'd be easy to do. It'd be hard to come up with one for each year.
I know. Yeah, I know, right? Be the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. You guys ready?
Sure.
I guess
All
I'll
right.
start off so we can do our little clockwise
Yep.
thing going on. All right, so my favorite horror movie for the year 1980 would be The Shining.
Nice.
Loosely based on the Stephen King novel and directed by the great Stanley Kubrick, starring Jack Nicholson. This is just a perfect horror film. It's I love ghosts. Ghosts are my favorite, but they're not done properly. They're not done to my liking very often. But this is an example when they are done properly. It's a very creepy movie, very atmospheric, great soundtrack, great score, great scenery. The isolated, secluded setting of the hotel in the middle of winter time, in the middle of a snowstorm, it fits the film like a glove. It's all around very creepy and very suspenseful. Just a masterpiece of a movie. Stanley Kubrick was a genius, and this movie is a testament to that. Stephen King didn't like it because he said it's strayed too far from the novel, and that is true. It takes a lot of liberties from the source material, but I don't care. It's still excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And the novel's great too, in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great.
The Shining's my favorite for the year 1980.
Oh yeah.
Excellent choice.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say I actually prefer the movie to the novel in this case.
I do too, actually.
'Cause
Yeah.
I did read the novel too.
Yeah, very rare when that happens, but I prefer the
Yeah.
movie also.
Yeah.
Well, I echo that sentiment. The Shining.
Nice.
Phenomenal movie. Like, what I think what I love most about it is the direction, like the sense of isolation that Stanley Kubrick creates.
Yes.
Not only are they snowed in, there's like 5 feet of snow outside, but the fact that they're trapped together with this guy who's losing his marbles. And he's got cabin fever. Jack Nicholson is awesome. What a great performance. Like, iconic,
Yeah.
For sure.
And, everyone in the cast, Shelley Duvall doesn't get enough credit. I think she's great as Wendy.
Yeah.
And, we've all seen the backstage, stuff, how rough she was treated, what she had to go through with Stanley because he's such a hard ass.
Yeah, he was a
It
perfectionist.
makes you appreciate even more, almost,
Yeah.
For sure.
But he wanted to push her to the limit to get the best possible performance out of her, and she did, So it's almost like,
Yeah.
But probably went a little too far.
Same with Scatman Crothers. He had like kind of a meltdown on set because Stanley Kubrick was so hard to work with. Yeah, absolutely.
But the atmosphere, like you said, and the ghosts are so well done. I love that. I love that scene when he goes into the ballroom and like early in the film there's no one there, and then when he walks in there's like a huge party going on with all the.
Love that. Very chilling movie.
Absolutely.
I'd have to agree. It's The Shining.
Nice.
I obviously everything you guys have already said. This movie just has that weird feeling to it where it feels comfy but uneasy at the same time. Like, I don't know, it just feels like a nice, comfy film, but you get that unease from everything that's happening, and call that nostalgia or whatever. But it's a fantastic film, and this one was a pretty easy answer for me when it came to 1980. But 1980 was a great year for horror as well. So, yeah, Red Rum, The Shining.
You just think of all the iconic scenes, the blood coming out from the elevators and the
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson smashing through the door.
Here's Johnny.
Going through the maze at the end there in the snow.
The bathtub lady.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The guy in the bear costume.
You were the caretaker here.
Yeah. Great party, isn't it?
So good.
Love it.
The twins, how could you forget that? It's scary
Yeah.
as hell. That still freaks me out, honestly.
Yeah. Creepy as hell.
Mhm.
All right, so next, 1981. I have a feeling we might have the same one for this one as well, quite possibly. For me, it's going to be Halloween 2.
Oh, nice.
More of the Night He Came Home.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah, picking up directly where the original 1978 masterpiece by John Carpenter leaves off. We get to see what happened after he gets shot 6 times and falls off the balcony.
mhm.
And goes on a murder spree, follows Laurie Strode to the hospital, stalking and killing anybody who gets in his way. Played this time by Dick Warlock, who I think does a fantastic job. This is a great, great sequel. I absolutely love it. I fell in love with it the first time I saw it. It blew me away, and it still has that effect on me today. I still absolutely adore this movie. It's one of my favorite sequels of all time. It's just excellent. It has a few flaws. It's not 100% perfect or anything, but it's very close. I love Halloween 2.
Oh yeah.
It's one of my favorite movies ever made.
So
Nice. Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Once again, we agree. Halloween 2. Very tough for me. Very, very tough for me, though. But I have to weigh it against this is the movie that I watch more than any of the others,
Mhm.
And being such a Halloween fan, I freaking love this movie. Everything about it. I love the amped up score. It sounds more like gothic with almost like church organ kind of thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
And yeah, this scene here, of course, is how can you forget that? I love Dr. Loomis in this one. I love the returning characters, of course. Marion Chambers. You got Charles Cyphers came back for a little bit. I love the atmosphere. Love, love, love the atmosphere in this movie. It's just as good as the original, in my opinion. And the cinematography from Dean Cundey is fantastic. Yeah, I have to say I think Rick Rosenthal did a great job.
Yeah.
Taking over from John Carpenter, and I love the idea of continuing it. Of course, literally right from the minute that the last movie takes off,
Mhm.
and I think it makes the best double feature for me is Halloween 1, and I have to watch Halloween 2 immediately.
For sure. Donald Pleasance is great, and it does make it a great double feature, like you said. The first
Awesome
movie.
kills too. The best, probably the best in the franchise for me.
Yeah. A lot more brutal this time.
Mm.
Yeah.
And Yeah, Dick Warlock, like for me, is my personal favorite Michael Myers. Um, I feel like he took what Nick Castle did in the original and like made it even more like made it even more scary. Like like because he was
Yeah,
more unstoppable this time around. And
yeah, for sure.
and he has much more screen time, and he just never loses that creep factor.
Yeah.
For
Even though
sure.
you see him more, whereas originally he's kind of in the background a lot and hiding. And
Uh, I will say for our audience watching tonight and everyone watching the playback, keep in mind we don't know what our list is, so we don't know what we're going to pick. So it's going to be interesting to see how many we have at the same time, and we're like, oh, like because you were completely right because it's Halloween 2 for me as well.
yes,
Um, yeah, had to have a Halloween on this list, and what better than Halloween 2? Come on. Um, yeah, I love this film. Like you said, it fits so perfectly with the original. It's a great double feature, much like Exorcist and Exorcist 2, The Heretic. Um, but yeah, I agree. For years, seeing people really not like Dick Warlock as Michael, think he's too slow, too robotic. I just think that makes him look more evil. He seems like more of a Terminator, like he sets his lock and he's coming. Personally, I like that. Uh, the kills in this movie are fantastic. I love the nurse getting stabbed and then lifted up in the air. And, oh, yeah, the score. This is probably maybe tied with my favorite rendition of the score. I just love that synthesizer sound it has to it.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, great performances, great film, and this. I mean, 1981 is arguably the best year for horror, or in the 80's at least, because that year was packed with
hell
film.
yeah.
A lot of
But
slashers that year.
yes, but Halloween 2 on top.
Absolutely.
Not to mention probably the two greatest werewolf movies ever made.
Yeah,
Yes,
for sure, for sure.
That was my toughest part, not to pick one of those, but
Yeah, those almost made my list as well. But I had to go with Halloween too.
yeah.
Brian Sanchez in the chat. How's it going, Brian?
So
what's up?
And for 1982, it's got to be John Carpenter's The Thing.
nice.
Oh yeah. Kurt Russell is an absolute badass and has some of the best special effects I've ever seen. Practical effects, if not the best I've ever seen in a movie. They're just incredible. Yeah, Rob Bottin did the makeup effects, and they just look phenomenal. Just it's breathtaking how much he accomplished with these practical effects. They're just incredible. The Arctic setting, the isolated, secluded setting out of the Arctic fits the film like a glove too. It's perfect. Yeah, great characters, great acting, great scenery, great score by Ennio Morricone.
Yeah.
Just everything about this movie is awesome. It's one of John Carpenter's best. It's probably my second favorite John Carpenter movie next to Halloween, quite possibly. So yeah, absolutely love The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing, and it's my favorite remake of all time as well. Even though it's a lot closer to the original
Nice.
story, Who Goes There, than the original The Thing from Another World was. So there's that. But yeah, this awesome, awesome movie.
Excellent masterpiece.
No doubt. Like you said, you're not planning this. You just said
I wonder when we're
everything.
gonna break the streak.
Phenomenal special makeup effects, practical effects. Probably, yeah, definitely one of the best ever for practical effects. Not only that, but it's really scary and it's really suspenseful too. On top of
Yeah,
having awesome effects and amazing cast. Kurt Russell's great. Wilford Brimley's great. The whole cast is great. Keith David. Um, yeah, I mean, amazing film, like you said. The score, Ennio McCartney. Um, and it's surprising that it wasn't John Carpenter that he
yeah,
didn't do it. But I guess he's probably so busy directing this film that it was hard to do the soundtrack too.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah, it's awesome. One of the greatest remakes of all time.
Easily. James Moss is in the chat. How's it going, James?
What's up, James?
And Fimbo Cinema is also in the chat. How's it going, Fimbo Cinema? Yeah, I agree. Drum Smash. Kurt Russell's great.
Yeah. One of his best roles, no question, no doubt.
Absolutely. Right up there with Escape from New York.
Yeah, Ozzy will be a 2-time Hall of Fame because he went
Yeah, that's right.
Sabbath already.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, for the time being, anyway, time to break the streak.
Really?
Oh, yes, because I was juggling between The Thing and this one, but I had to go with this one for personal reasons. I'm going with Creepshow.
Oh.
My favorite horror anthology. I love the way it's told. I love how it looks like a comic book. People get shocked. The background turns red and all like that. The effects are fantastic in the film. And you got tons of recognizable actors in this, like Hal Havens and Leslie Nielsen, Adrienne Barbeau,
Yeah.
Stephen King himself. Yeah, this is it's one of the horror movies I ever saw. So it's got that nostalgia tie to it. So that's why I had to go with it personally. But Creepshow fucking rules. Yes.
Well, no doubt, it is a great choice.
Yeah, Creepshow's great.
Yeah, it's also my favorite anthology film.
Yeah, mine too. It's probably my second favorite 1982 horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Most likely. It almost made my list too.
I think this is what kind of makes it fun, is that this is so difficult.
Yeah, I know, right? This one will be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like part 2 as well. Yeah. Juno 2000's in the chat. Yeah, Halloween 2 was our choice as well for 1981.
Yeah.
All right, so for 83, I originally had The Dead Zone on my list. I haven't watched that in so long. It's a great movie. It's probably better technically than this movie that I picked instead. It was a tough one, but I went ahead and went with Sleepaway Camp.
Oh, nice.
For 83, yeah. It was one of my favorite slashers. Was probably the most horrifying, most shocking ending in a horror movie ever, quite possibly, at least for back then. Yeah, wow. Did I not see that coming when I first watched it? That was a doozy. But yeah, some pretty good kills, like great, scenery, great atmosphere in the camp setting and stuff. It's one of my favorite. It's probably my second favorite summer camp slasher movie next to the Friday 13th movies, of course. Angela's a great character played by Felissa Rose. She does a great job. She really carries the movie pretty well. Yeah, great acting, pretty much, better than you would expect from this sort of movie. But yeah, Sleepaway Camp is definitely up there. One of my favorite 80s horror movies and my choice for 1983.
Nice.
Awesome choice.
Thanks. Yeah, Christina King too.
Yeah, that's true too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2 great Stephen King adaptions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came so close to picking. I wanted to pick Sleepaway Camp, but Psycho 2.
Nice. I thought about
Awesome
that too.
sequel. One of the best horror sequels, and possibly the most underrated horror sequel of all time. You got like an Oscar-worthy performance from Anthony Perkins. I mean, he's amazing. I just love the way it continues the story. I love it, and it makes perfect sense. And I love Lionel Loomis coming back. From the original film. It's really cool, and I just love the twists and turns, and the suspense is amazing. And you keeps you on the edge of your seat. You never quite know. Did Norman do this, or is someone making him do it, or is someone driving him crazy? It's so good. It's so well done, and it's such a surprise that this many years later from the original that they could make a sequel this damn good.
I agree.
Yeah, Psycho 2 is great. Great sequel. Like you said, very underrated. And Anthony Perkins was awesome, like
Yeah.
always.
Yeah, Meg Tilly. Yeah, she's great too.
Yeah.
I like their whole relationship too. Is interesting too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, is she just using him, or does she really care about him? Or, they had something there.
It's most intriguing.
Oh yeah. For me, it was a tough one, but I went.
Nice.
Another very underrated John Carpenter film, and a Stephen King adaptation at that. That John Carpenter, Stephen King. Wow.
Right.
Now, maybe of course some liberties were taken that some things in the film were not represented like they were in the book. But a lot about this movie, I love the score of the film. Score has a very similar sound at times to Season of the Witch. Very similar.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that. But I also love old-fashioned cars as well. So like the 58 Plymouth Fury. I love the look of that car. Yeah. I like that you get to see Arnie go from this like nerdy kid who gets bullied to slowly descending into just being taken over by the evil essence. Yeah. And there's some incredible effects in this movie. I know everyone knows the show me scene where the car morphs back together.
Yeah.
That is my favorite part.
Yeah, it's just extremely underrated. It's one that you hear people bring up in Stephen King adaptations, but when talking about Carpenter, most people kind of forget about it. Like, oh yeah, I forgot he did Christine. So
yeah. John Carpenter combined with Stephen King.
Oh yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
This is kind of one of the more underrated of John Carpenter's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now this next year, I am curious on if we're all going to have the same one or not.
Possible.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm
for
curious.
Me, for 1984, it's got to be Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mm-hmm.
Only because it's debatable whether or not The Terminator is a horror film. I kind of consider it
I
one.
had the same problem.
Yeah, I don't know. It's it's like, is it a horror film? I mean, it definitely has a lot of horror elements. It's kind of more of a thriller, sci-fi action. But whatever you believe, Nightmare on Elm Street is undoubtedly a horror film. So it's got to be my choice. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? It's Wes Craven's masterpiece. It's the birth of Freddy Krueger himself, played by the excellent Robert Englund. Heather Langenkamp's excellent as the final girl, Nancy. John Saxon's great. I mean, the dream sequences are great. It's such a creative, such a horrifying premise. It's more psychological than Jason and Michael Myers, too, I think. I mean, if you can't go to sleep, and dying in your sleep is like, that's one of the scariest things that could possibly happen. Being killed in your dream, that it really happens. I mean, wow, it's just terrifying. Yeah, great movie, great special effects, great acting, great directing. Very stylish. All the different camera angles and all the lighting effects and stuff is really well done. Like I said, the creative dream sequences. All about the body bag and stuff like that, and Freddy coming out of the wall. So many great scenes like that. Yeah, just an awesome movie all around. Just perfect horror movie. When I first saw it, it blew me away, and it still does to this day. It's just excellent.
Yeah.
Original Nightmare on Elm Street, the one that started it all.
Hell yeah. Nightmare on Elm Street. And I probably would have picked the other one, but I decided it makes more sense to go with the straight up horror movie, like you said.
Yeah, that's what I
I
thought
had
too.
the same hard time to, oh man, I freaking love the Terminator. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the birth of a horror icon, probably the biggest horror icon, arguably.
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger. Everybody knows Freddy Krueger. And what brilliant direction by Wes Craven, and it's such an incredibly original idea for a slasher film,
Yeah.
And yeah, I love the atmosphere too, and the dream sequences in the boiler room with the steam coming out and in the dark, and he's coming out of the shadows. Awesome stuff. Amazing score too. I love the score, and Nightmare on Elm Street is amazing. Yeah, I love
Absolutely.
Nancy's one of the best final girls. Heather Langkamp's great. Johnny Depp in his first movie role is great.
Yeah.
Cool. Again, cool practical effects too. I love his makeup in the film too. And I like that Freddy is much more sinister, obviously, than he became later on. This is definitely a darker, sinister Freddy, And they don't overuse him too. They kind of keep him hidden in the background sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, awesome movie.
Yeah.
One of my all-time favorites.
Well, I guess the streak is back home.
Hey.
Yeah. Once again, everything you said, it's a game changer for the slasher genre, especially back then.
Absolutely.
I love just the aesthetic of this movie, how it does feel dreamlike and just weird. Tina's death is still extremely haunting to this day because while you can't see Freddy, like you can still hear him like dragging her. And it's beautifully done. Like it's what we call creativity, especially rotating room and all that. Nancy, I always really liked Nancy as a final girl. I like her the most in Dream Warriors because she's wise and has the knowledge of it.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like her first go with Freddy, she kicked his ass pretty good.
Yeah.
Um,
She did her research.
yeah.
Yeah, I like how she fights back and doesn't just scream and run the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
She sets the traps for him and everything.
Yep. I feel like, especially when it comes to Wes Craven, that kind of started a trend where the final girl before, while still can be strong, for the most part, they were like really beaten down and just like, I can't do it, but they still managed to. This was like the fighter final girl. Like, I'm not going to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Tina. Watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Running in the hallway.
It had to be Nightmare on Elm Street, but yeah, Nightmare. And then, holy hell, this next year was the hardest one for me. I was
Me too. It's my favorite year for horror or anything for that matter.
Yeah, because when I look at my top 10 horror films, 3 of those are in 1985.
Yeah, mine too.
Classics.
Yes.
Very tough to narrow down. Very hard.
You got every type of horror too. It's not just like slashers or there's some of the vampires, there's jellos, there's zombies, everything.
Speaking of zombies, my pick has got to be Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, I figured that.
It was between this and Fright Night and Reanimator. It's
Yes.
very, very, very close, but I went with this overall by ever so slightly.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely adore this movie. I fell in love with it when I first saw it. Rented it from the video store. They show the real poster. Great special effects, great looking zombies with the makeup and stuff.
Yeah.
I love the punk rockers. I really love the older guys. They're even cooler than the young characters. Clu Gallagher and James Karen and Don Calfa. They're even cooler than the punk rockers.
They're hilarious because they're so over the top.
Yeah, they are funny. Of course, Linnea Quigley, my buddy, is in this movie. She was great. Great cast, great characters, great scenery, great soundtrack too. Great atmosphere. It's funny and scary. One of my favorite horror comedies ever. I absolutely adore this movie. There's nothing bad about it. Maybe the ending's a little rushed, but overall, it's a masterpiece in my eyes. I love Return of the Living Dead. It's excellent in every way.
Yeah.
Awesome movie.
Mike's DVD and Blu-ray collections in the chat. How's it going, Mike?
So,
What's up?
Well, I went with my favorite vampire movie of the 1980s, Fright Night. Awesome movie. It's so freaking 80s, but I love it so much. Like, I love the soundtrack. Jerry Dandridge is amazing. Chris Sarandon is so great. He's so charismatic. Probably maybe the most charismatic vampire, even more than Dracula, I'd say.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I love the whole cast. I love the Peter Vincent, Roddy McDowell is great. He's like almost kind of a throwback to like the old Hammer movies with Peter Cushing and stuff. Obviously, the name Peter Vincent. Awesome practical effects. Awesome, like man, like when the guy melts down after he gets like.
Yeah.
And when all the variations of Chris Sarandon when he turns and when he gets beat up and he gets more and more decrepit as the movie goes along, until he turns into like a full blown like huge bat. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Or Evil Ed, such a fun character too.
Yeah.
Another great scene when Peter Vincent, stakes Evil Ed, and what amazing practical effects on that scene with the wolf, and he degenerates back into a man, and you see him, and you feel so bad for him because he's dying. Oh, Charlie's best friend, man, he's cool. I like this guy. I don't want to see him die.
Right.
Amanda Beers, really cool too. She did a great job too. Like, I love her look too when she turns into a vampire. She got sexy there. Until of course she opens her mouth, she got the huge fangs.
Yikes.
Awesome movie.
Yeah, I love it. That almost made my list. It was very, very close. Depends on what I'm in the mood for, really. It's almost a tie, really, between Friday Night and Return of the Living Dead.
Those three. And there's another one too, Day of the Dead.
Yeah, Day of the Dead's great too. I love Friday Night too. It does need to be more widely available. I was lucky enough to get it on DVD when it was released for like 5 seconds.
I'm shocked it hasn't had any kind of decent release at all.
It needs a Blu-ray already.
Yeah, I like Fright Night Part 2 as well. I had gotten extremely lucky because I had found Fright Night Part 2 on DVD, perfect condition, at a pawn shop and got it for $1.
Oh, wow.
So, got lucky on that.
Yeah.
But next up for me, welcome to
Fright Night.
My favorite vampire film of all time.
Nice.
Same with both of you. The three that I was going back and forth was Fright Night, Return of the Living Dead, and Reanimator. I was just like, what am I going to do? But I went with Fright Night. And yeah, this movie is so 80s. It's so good. Wonderful memories with this film. I do recall actually wearing the VHS out at one point when I was a kid. Like, it just stopped working. But yeah, the effects in this film, the characters. Peter Vincent is such an amazing character, played to perfection by great Roddy McDowall. Like you expect this to be like a fun. People call this a horror comedy. I'd call it a horror movie with just funny elements in it. Like,
yeah, I agree.
I do find it. Actually, this movie also gave me my love of Hammer horror because Charlie Brewster was watching Scars of Dracula.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
And I've never had any complaints about this film, but I've always had like that little nitpick that was like, it's when Charlie runs to Evil Ed's house and asks how to kill him. I was like, you're a horror fan. You know this.
Yeah, he's supposed to be a vampire expert. And
I know, right?
They just needed that scene to explain to the audience like how to kill a vampire, I guess. Yeah, that always makes me scratch my head too.
But that it also comes my favorite movie poster because that is incredible artwork.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So, Fright Night, it just kicks ass.
Kicks ass.
Wonderful. Love it.
Woo, what a year.
Yeah. So for 1986, for me, it's got to be Night of the Creeps.
Nice.
Great film.
I despise this Blu-ray cover.
A lot of people say that when it came out. Like, oh, what is this?
There we go. That's more like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They came out with the better one.
Yeah, they did. I need to get it. I think Scream Factory did it too. I've got the original on this VHS here at least. So
nice.
Yeah, I love this movie. They don't make them like this anymore. Yeah, where do I even begin? Yeah, it's like these alien slugs that land on Earth back in like the 50s, I think, and then basically they possess people. They control people's bodies, and they get loose in the 80s and result in a bunch of zombies on a college campus. And Tom Atkins, who's a total badass, and this is my favorite Tom Atkins role. He's hilarious and he's awesome. Oh man, I just love him so much in this movie. He's so great. Yeah, he helps the young college students fight back against this new zombie threat. Yeah, it's just excellent. It's so 80s and it's so much fun. This movie is just an absolute blast. It's just just an absolute hoot. I just absolutely love it. I never get bored of this movie. I just love it so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's both thumbs up. It's just awesome.
Agree. Yeah, like you said, they certainly don't make them like that anymore, and I think that sucks. I would love to have great fun horror like that back in theaters.
Yeah.
Personally, from what I see, most horror movies that come it seems like they just try to be the next Hereditary, like the next.
Yeah, that is true.
Like what happened? It's like they do get made, but they're mostly like either low budget straight to DVD or they go to Shudder or something. Which there are a lot of good Shudder stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want more theatrical stuff like that again.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's room for both.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'd love a sequel. I'd love a Return of the Creeps.
Yeah.
Yeah, huh? That would be interesting.
Yeah, and another good point is that when fun horror movies like that do get put in theaters nowadays, they're mostly hated, and like that's not horror. That's just garbage.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's a good point. I had a similar case with this one as the 1984 thing that we talking about. Whether I should pick the more straight up horror movie or
Ah,
Aliens.
excellent choice. I
I mean, yeah, this
thought
is
about
like
that too.
it's tough for me. This was another tough year for me because there are a couple really good like sequels like that I love and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but Aliens is like one of the greatest sequels ever made. Period. Like,
Yeah.
um, so great. James Cameron did a phenomenal job picking up from Ridley Scott in the original movie, and he obviously did his homework because it plays very well as a sequel.
Yeah.
And it amps up the action. I'd say there's a lot more action in Aliens than the Alien. That was probably more of a horror, but there's definitely still plenty of horror in Aliens. There's some scary scenes in there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
Sigourney Weaver is phenomenal. She got nominated for an Oscar. Um, yeah, great cast. So much fun too. Like got Bill Paxton in there. You got
yeah,
Lance Hendrickson as the robot. Really cool movie. Awesome. Once again, awesome practical effects. Stan Winston, I believe, did that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He took the original design from the first film and he did an excellent job. He even made the big queen, which is awesome looking, It's
Yeah.
sick.
yeah,
Yeah, awesome movie, Aliens. One, like I said, one of the best sequels out of all time.
definitely.
Great choice.
It's hard to pick between Alien and Aliens. Kind of depends on what I'm in the mood for.
Yeah, true.
Well, for me, I went with Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason.
Oh,
Nice.
Tied with my favorite Friday film. This movie is a blast. Uh, to me, this is the point in the franchise where they finally decided to do something a little bit more fresh with it. Because the first five had a very similar feel. This one went more of that fun, campy vibe to it. I love the soundtrack. Whole lot of Alice on here, so
yeah.
um, yeah. C.J. Graham is a great Jason. He, uh, one of my personal favorites. I definitely put him up there with Kane Hodder as an intimidating Jason.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
the kills were good. Luckily they weren't at that point where they were just completely demolished by the MPAA and non-existent. I mean, come on, that back bend break. Oh,
Yeah.
um, and this is also my favorite of Tommy Jarvis, played by Tom Matthews. Uh,
Mine too.
yeah, it's just sometimes you watch a movie and you get transported back to your early years, and you just are happy. You're just like, oh, man, this is great. So, Friday the 13th, Part 6, just such a damn fun movie.
Absolutely.
I love it. It's my second favorite Jason movie next to Part 4.
Yeah.
Amazing opening with
Yeah.
he
It
gets
was very,
electrocuted.
yeah.
This guy must have really fucked you up. Remember that guy looks nasty too when he comes out of the grave, all the maggots on his face.
Yeah.
CJ's actually my favorite, Jason.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, he's great.
Just feel like he had the perfect balance of the perfect look.
yeah.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Mm-hmm. I love the gothic look of the graveyard in the beginning and just the lightning.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wicked, like universal monster kind of thing going on.
It reminds me of the opening of Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman a little bit.
Yeah.
So 1987.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be Evil Dead 2.
You go.
My favorite sequel of all time.
Oh,
Love
yeah.
this movie. Bruce Campbell's back, and he's even cooler this time as Ash. This time he morphs into the chainsaw-armed, shotgun-toting, badass action hero type that we all know and love. Back to do battle with the Deadites in the cabin in the woods. Picking up where the last film leaves off. Yes, it is a sequel. It's not a remake. I'm not going to get into that, though. It's a long story. Anyway, yeah, it's just a great movie. It's funny. It's just as funny as it is scary. It's one of my favorite horror comedies. It's hilarious. Yeah, great characters, great special effects. Yeah, it had a higher budget than the first one. It looks amazing. Yeah, great score, great scenery, great atmosphere. Just great everything. You know, I've talked about this movie ad nauseum on this channel, so I'll just sum up by saying it's excellent. It's a masterpiece, absolute classic. I love Evil Dead 2.
Oh yeah,
For sure. And man, I feel so bad for Ash whenever I watch that movie. Like, man, this guy's taking the worst beating. Like, the shit he goes through.
Yeah.
My favorite is when after he cuts his hand off and he's like fighting with his own hand and stuff.
Yeah.
Like punching himself in the face, flipping himself around, bashing plates over his head.
Yeah, that's all. It's so cool. Who's laughing now?
Who's laughing now? A few really good sequels that year, huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
I might be this might be a little bit of a shocker, but Hellraiser.
Yeah.
To
Oh,
me,
yeah.
one of the most original horror films ever made. Like I
I love
freaking love
Hellraiser.
this movie, and I feel like it doesn't get the love it deserves sometimes. It's like to me, it's up with the top tier level just because it's so freaking original and creative. Yeah. What a brilliant job by Clyde Barker, and he actually directed the movie. So you
Yeah.
got to give him credit for that too. Love the look of the Cenobites. I just love the story. I love the idea of these demons that give you pain or pleasure, whatever you choose. Like these demons from hell. And yeah, of course, Pinhead is so iconic, played so great by Doug Bradley. Man, phenomenal movie. I love the score too. It's very atmospheric. It's super gory too. You know, the awesome practical effects again. You know, sick as hell. Like I don't think I had before this movie. I don't think I had ever seen a movie that gory. You know, like
Yeah.
freaking sick.
It's pretty gruesome.
And you got great character. It's almost like there's slasher elements in there with Julia. You know, where she picks up the guys at the bar, bash their head in just to
Yeah.
feed them to Frank. You know, and the sick look of Frank without the skin and the oh man, awesome.
Frank was an awesome villain.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought he was even creepier when he's played by Andrew Robinson, like when he takes Larry's skin.
Yeah.
And yeah, of course, Doug Bradley is Pinhead before he even had the name Pinhead. He was just known as lead Cenobite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Hellraiser is great. Like you said, yeah, so creative, so original, just an amazing premise. I absolutely love it.
Another one of the great final girls, I think, Ashley Lawrence. You talk about someone who
fights
back, you know.
It's Kirsty, yeah.
Kicks ass.
Yeah, she's great. Cenobites.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
so
agree with
starts
that
to show you.
Yeah.
We'll tear your soul apart.
I know if we would have done this, it would have been like a 6-hour long stream. But could you imagine if we did our top 5 from each year of the 80s?
Yeah.
Wow, now you're talking like. Well, that's what I had. It like this morning. I had like at least 5 from every year though.
Yeah.
Like,
It's tough to narrow down.
Yeah, because especially on the ones that we have different picks, it's like, oh, that one too.
Yeah.
But for me, my pick for 87 is a film that's tied with Halloween as my favorite horror film. Legend has it that it was written by the Dark Ones. Necronomicon Ex Mortis. Evil Dead 2. I mean, it's Evil Dead 2. Just a fantastic film. Everything about the horror is great. The humor is great. Bruce the Man Campbell is. No one else can play Ash. No one else.
No.
They could try to do it, but I think they'd fail. Personally. Yeah, the effects are fantastic. Henrietta is disgusting. Yeah.
Someone's in my fruit salad. Someone with fresh
soul.
If you were to do like top 5 screams in horror, has the and yeah, this movie truly is the birth of the Ash that everyone knows. Chainsaw hand, boomstick.
Yeah.
He of course becomes the witty Ash in Army of Darkness, but
yeah.
Evil Dead fucking 2, hell yeah. Evil Dead 2. Yeah. I will I'm very involved in the horror community, like follow a lot of people, watch it. It is very interesting these days. A lot of people are starting to be like Evil Dead 2 is their least favorite, and they
I was gonna say that too. Like, it seems like it's getting less love these days. Like, what's up with that?
Obviously, like days 2013 is like the highest rated one. Like everyone's like, oh, 2013 is the best one. I love it. Not my favorite.
That's my least favorite.
The millennials.
Yeah.
You gotta love Evil Dead 2. It's so manic and
crazy,
like over the top.
Yep. I adore that movie.
Hell yeah.
So 1988 was a no-brainer for me. There's only one correct choice. There's only one right answer, in my opinion, and that's Child's Play.
Oh, nice.
The birth of the Chucky franchise. Yep.
Hell yeah.
The Killer Doll. Can't go wrong with Chucky.
Oh, you can't.
And this is my favorite in the Child's Play franchise too. It's Chucky was the scariest here. It was the most suspenseful because for the first like 40 minutes or so, we didn't really see the doll actually being alive. It was strongly suggested. I mean, we all knew he was alive, but it didn't like show it outright until like a little later in the movie. And when he first comes to life, it's a doozy too. Brad Dourif does a great job voicing him, as well as playing the human Charles Lee Ray, the serial killer who gets shot down and transfers his soul into the doll. Chris Sarandon, who's one of my favorites, of course, from Fright Night, is Mike Norris, the cop who guns Charles Lee Ray down. He's great. Alex Vincent's great as Andy Barkley, one of my favorite child actors. Catherine Hicks as his mom, Karen. Great cast, great characters, some great kills, great suspense, great atmosphere. There's some great one-liners from Chucky, though not as many as some of the later sequels, of course. Like, he wasn't quite as funny here as he was like in the sequels, but he was the scariest here for sure. Yeah, long live Chucky, Child's Play, where it all started. My favorite 1988 horror movie for sure.
Hell yeah.
There's one awesome line though when he's in the
elevator.
Guy's like, an ugly doll.
Yeah, I love that part.
Well, I'm not as big as the Chucky guy as most. I am the Halloween guy, though.
Nice.
Awesome movie, classic. Yeah, I may be biased with this one. But yeah, I mean, it's such a when I look at all the others, this is certainly the one that I watch the most. I love Donald Pleasance returning. I think he's awesome in this. One of his best performances. And I love the inclusion of Jamie Lloyd, really cool character. Picking up from Laurie Strode, like Jamie Lee Curtis didn't want to do it anymore, so what are they going to do now? And I really, really enjoyed her character. Not only that, is Ellie Cornell is great as Rachel. She's almost like the Laurie Strode type, you know. And seeing this little girl get stalked by her uncle Michael Myers, you know. It's great to see kind of the return to form. That's why it's called the Return of Michael Myers, because Halloween 3, there is no Michael Myers. It has nothing to do with anything. So yeah, I was like, I can't wait to see Michael come back. Yeah, a lot of classic scenes, some cool kills. Yeah, awesome movie. I love Halloween 4.
Oh yeah.
Same here.
Halloween, another one I would have had on my list.
That's one of my. That's the best thing about it for me is the performances. I love Daniel Harris and Ellie Cornell. Donald Pleasance is amazing.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Damn good pick.
Another year with some great sequels.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next up for me is going to be Child's Play.
Nice.
Yeah, I love the Chuckster. He's a laugh riot. Not so much in this movie, but he still does have some funny parts. I mean, pop me down, or else I'm going to throw you in the fire, you stupid bitch. I think, for Alex Vincent to be like, I think 6 years old making this movie, his acting was great. Like,
very believable.
That's a good job.
He would go down and like cry. Like, I'd be like, damn, I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the effects on the doll are fantastic. Something I think they would definitely perfect more sequel. Like, you see much more of him, so he has better animatronics and stuff. Then again, it's really a damn shame to see where the franchise started and how good the effects were, and then you get to like Cult, and it's like looks really weird. But I get those were straight to DVD.
Yeah.
But yeah, the effects were fantastic. I love how they did the whole point of view, even though you knew it was going to be the doll. Yeah, I love this film. It has that dark noir feel sometimes, like throughout the alleyways and all that. Yeah, damn good film.
Love it.
Oh, yeah.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of a weird choice for 1989. Because I mean, like, what else was I gonna pick? Like Pet Sematary. I mean, Pet Sematary is probably a better movie than what I picked, but it's just so depressing. I don't watch it very much. And the Warlock's a good movie too, but I don't watch that one as much either. So I went with the very, very, very underrated Friday the 13th Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. I'll never understand the hate this movie gets. I don't get it. I know not enough of it takes place in New York City. I know that's a huge bummer. That's a drag, but who cares? I love the scenes on the boat. At least they did something different. At least he was away from the camp. I like the scenes on the boat. And when he finally does get to Manhattan, it's well worth it. They milk it for all it's worth. We see him on top of buildings. We see the Statue of Liberty. We see him in Times Square. We see him in the sewer in a diner. They really give you what you came for, even though it's brief. Yeah, I love this movie. I think it's just so overlooked and so overhated. Has some of my favorite Jason moments. I mean, Kane Hodder's great. He doesn't look as cool as he did in part 7, but I love when he kicks the boombox and the punks are like lifts his mask and it's cool, man, it's cool. And then he sees the billboard with the hockey mask on it. He's like, huh? Yeah, this is one of my favorite Jason moments. And there's all kinds of moments like that in this film that make it worth watching. So I don't get it. I don't know why it's so hated. I love it. I freaking love it, and it's probably my favorite horror movie from 1989. I mean, like I said, what else was I gonna pick? Pet Sematary or Warlock? But I mean, I watched this one a lot more. I've seen this a lot more than those. So those are probably better movies technically, but this is more of a personal favorite. I put at least one Jason film on the list, and this is fit the best.
Wow, I'm surprised that's the only one. I didn't have any yet, did I? I might not have any.
Get there, because when Jason looks at the billboard and he sees the hockey, it looks like he turned to us and he's like, "You're seeing this shit." It's like, but yeah, that shot of him in Times Square is iconic nowadays. Like that.
Yeah.
There's definitely some good stuff in there.
Oh yeah.
Julian versus Jason boxing match. That was
knocks his block off.
Well, I might lose a lot of people with this one, but the same way you feel about that movie is the same way I feel about this one.
Oh.
Shocker, I know, but
yeah,
I love Halloween 5. I'm sorry. There's a lot of good stuff in there that I think a lot of people miss,
Yeah.
A while back, me and a horror fan 88 did a whole show about it.
Yeah.
I think there's some great kills. I think there's some great atmosphere in it. There's some very creepy stuff with Michael stalking that we didn't get to see a lot of in the last couple ones. I love the fact that Michael is driving again, and I think that's always been a really cool thing about Michael that sets him apart from the other slasher killers. It's such a weird thing, and it's really unnerving. And there's some crazy stuff in there when he tries to run Jamie over with the car, and the laundry chute scene is amazing. That's one thing that people do say about it. That's like the one thing people give Halloween 5 credit for. But I kind of I know a lot of people don't like Donald Pleasance as much in this one, but I like it because it's like he's at his wit's end he's just had enough. He can't take it anymore, he's losing his mind. And it makes sense to me. And I know a lot of people say they wanted Jamie to be the killer and all that, which I get that. But I was happy with what they did with it. I like it. And it made sense to me that that Jamie was mute. I know people have problems with that too. So whatever. I love Halloween 5. So I always go back and watch it anytime I watch 4. I always want to watch 5. And I think they work well together.
That makes a good double feature.
I like Don Shanks as Michael too. Very underrated, yeah.
Yeah. I find that so. I know for years I've heard people say they should have went with Jamie being the killer, like take that direction. But when Halloween Ends does it, all hell breaks loose, and people are like, how fucking dare you? But so you have like this 9-year-old girl walking around killing people? Like,
yeah, I wouldn't have liked that as much.
So I like Halloween 5. I like the direction they went. Now, I'm noticing a trend here, and I like it, that all of our picks for 89 are films that are not loved by personally. Because my pick is Wes Craven's Shocker.
Ooh, wow. That's a shocker. Oh.
I picked this movie for the pure interest. This movie is a fun time. Straight off fun time. And, Wes Craven had a lot of these type of movies that were not loved, but they found their audience, like Shocker or Deadly Friend, stuff like that. And Mitch Pileggi as Horace Pinker is absolutely insane.
It was great. They're trying to make another Freddy, clearly.
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, you can see that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love the soundtrack of this film. It opens up with Shocker. Fantastic. Yeah, and the movie has no rules. They kind of just pull things out of their ass whenever they feel like it. Like, come on, them fighting throughout TV channels and jumping through shit. That's great. Sometimes you just need a good turn your brain off fun movie, and that's one of them for me.
That's true.
I agree. Mr. Dan and Horrors in the chat. How's it going, Mr. Dan? Welcome to the Morbid Hour. Yeah, Shocker had a great premise. I love the idea of an executed serial killer possessing people, like jumping from body to body, trying to get revenge on the man who sent him to the electric chair. But they complicated it too much. Like they just made it too convoluted. Like, he has dreams of Horace Pinker committing the crimes, and even materializes himself in the scene of one of them. Like how and why?
Yeah.
And then like they made him Horace Pinker's son. Like again, why? Like why'd they put so much crap in it? It would have been simple if you just happened to catch him. He just catches him trying to kill a family, sits in the electric chair, he comes back for revenge. That's all you needed. Sometimes simplicity is better instead of needlessly complicating it too much. They made it too convoluted. But it is a very fun movie with a great soundtrack, like you said. And I enjoy watching it still.
Yeah. Now that we're done,
a little bit.
now that we're done, I'm thinking back on like the year 1986, and I picked Friday Part 6. I could have went Trick or Treat, and I'm like, damn it.
Oh yeah, Trick or Treat's a good one.
I'm happy with my list though. I think I did all right.
Me too. I'm happy with it.
It's tough to narrow it down to one.
Yeah.
On some of these.
Hey, Jen, what's going on?
Hey, Jen's in the chat. How's it going?
How's it going? What's up?
I would have been interested to hear Jen's picks on that.
Yeah, too.
Being the 90's trial. But yeah, it was kind of a weekend 89, like.
Yeah.
Kind of went out with a whimper.
Yeah, it was hard to pick one for that, really.
Such a
that
great
I really
decade.
enjoy.
Trick or treat, right? Trick or treat.
Yeah.
Yeah, from 1986. Combines three of my favorite things: horror, heavy metal, and Halloween.
Yeah,
I'm going with that.
Which the guy we're talking about was in that.
What's that?
Ozzy was in that.
Oh yeah, that's right. And he was playing a preacher who was against heavy metal. I mean, that's genius. That's hilarious. I love that. Sure, James. Yeah, I'll get to Sleepaway Camp 3 eventually.
I was going to mention that too, because like you were saying about Shocker, that's how I felt about Sleepaway Camp 3.
Mm.
Oh yeah. So yeah, our top 5 favorite Ozzy albums. You guys ready?
Yeah, I certainly am.
All right, so my 5th favorite Ozzy album from his solo career is going to be No Rest for the Wicked.
Nice.
It's a great album. Got great songs like Miracle Man, Devil's Daughter, Crazy Babies. I love that song. Walk That Walk. Breaking All the Rules, Bloodbath in Paradise, Fire in the Sky, Tattooed Dancer, Demon Alcohol. Yeah, some great songs. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Great album.
It's a good one, yeah.
Absolutely.
It was between that and the one I picked was real close, so I went with The Ultimate Sin.
Nice.
Nice.
Obviously, A Shot in the Dark is an absolute classic.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, it's got some great songs like Lightning Strikes, A Fool Like You,
Mm-hmm.
Secret Loser, Never Know Why. Real Solid, and that was Jake E. Lee's last one with him.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's right.
And they kind of fought about the rights to
Yeah,
during, rights to who wrote the songs and all that.
right. I think Jakey Lee is one of the most underrated Aussie guitarists.
Yeah, definitely.
I think he's right up there with Randy and Zach.
I would agree.
That was tough shoes to fill,
Oh
taking
yeah,
over from Randy Rhoads.
for sure.
Yeah.
My favorite album cover too. That's a sick album
Yeah,
cover.
it's awesome.
For me, some people may find this one to be a little too low. To that, I say, hey, it's subjective. I still have it on my top 5. That's going to be Blizzard of Oz. A great start. I'll say that. Of course, obviously, Crazy Train, which one of those songs that it's played quite a bit.
That's the one song everybody knows.
Yeah,
If you hear an Ozzy song on the radio, it's either Crazy Train, My Mom Coming Home, or one of the others. But also Mr. Crowley. Mr. Crowley.
love that keyboard intro.
Yeah.
Very horror-esque.
Yeah,
I love Ozzy's artwork in general, like him with the cross,
That's cool, yeah.
the inside artwork. Like,
yeah.
Again, I think I mentioned this before when we did our Black Sabbath talk, but I've always felt like Ozzy is a member of my family because I've legitimately grown up with his music.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Family member, listen to metal, like it was always Ozzy. Ozzy was always there. It's a great album. I will never forget that one Ozzy interview where he was on something and he was like, "Hello there."
Oh yeah. When he had the short hair.
He's like,
That's hilarious. I love that interview. I've watched it so many times.
"What?"
Yeah. Good evening, Ozzy. What?
Hello there. Oh.
My fourth favorite Ozzy solo album is The Ultimate Sin.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I love this
It's an
artwork.
awesome cover.
Yeah, I have a very, very cool cover. This is his most underrated album, too, because even Ozzy himself seems to want to pretend this doesn't exist. And I don't understand why, because I think this is his finest vocal performance from his solo career. South Bloody Sabbath was his best vocal performance from Sabbath. This is his best vocal performance from a solo career. Yeah, Shot in the Dark is an absolute classic. That was always my favorite. That was always my most iconic Ozzy song. Not Crazy Train, but Shot in the Dark. I always loved Shot in the Dark because I had the Osmond Comet CD, and that was on there because this was hard to find. But yeah, Lightning Strikes, Killer of Giants, Never, the title track, Secret Loser, Fool Like You. Yeah, great songs. And yeah, his singing ability is really good on this album, like I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, very,
Definitely.
very underrated and very hard, very widely unavailable, which is a darn shame.
Yeah.
True. Well, the next one might be considered commercial. It's certainly one of his most commercially successful, maybe even the most. No More Tears.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good one.
I love it. I think it's great. I thought it was a great kind of comeback for him too.
Yeah.
Love the title track. One of my favorites. No More Tears is a great song, man. I love Zach Wild's work on this album. You know, there's some killer riffs. Mama, I'm Coming Home. It's classic, man.
Yeah.
Time after time, road to nowhere. I don't want to change the world. I don't.
Don't want the world to change me. It's got some great tracks on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wasn't that the album that had Mr. Tinker Train on it?
Yes. Yep. Another good one.
Oh, yeah. Great choice, though. It is a damn good album. Next up for me is going to be Diary of a Madman. Another great album. I mean, Over the Mountain, that opening riff is, dun, 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 dun. I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, Over the Mountain, Flying High Again, Believer, the title track. It's another fantastic album. One, unfortunately, I don't own, so I can't hold it up for you. But yeah, I love the album cover too. Just him like just chilling over there. Ozzy was always on that horror movie stuff. There you go. But yeah, Diary of a Madman, another great album, and on my top 5.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Great album. It's my third favorite Ozzy solo album's got to be Bark at the Moon. That's a great cover as well. He's like a werewolf. Really cool. Yeah, the title track, Now You See It, Now You Don't, Rock and Roll Rebel, Center of Eternity, all great songs. Yeah. This was his first with Jake E. Lee, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, so Jake E. Lee, like I said, is a very underrated guitarist. I really like his riffs and solos. They're great. It's right up there with, the best of them.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, great album. Absolutely love it.
No doubt.
That album cover is just fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
He's certainly the Prince of Darkness.
Absolutely.
He wears that get up in the video.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like climbing the tree and shit.
Yeah.
Awesome effects, though. Like that werewolf.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks really cool.
And my number 3 is Bark at the Moon. That's what. Such a classic.
Yeah.
I love that. That's one of my favorite songs by Ozzy.
too.
Period. Rock,
Yeah,
like you said, Rock and Roll Rebel, Center Eternity,
Yeah.
Waiting for the Darkness. Good stuff. But yeah, like you said, Jake E. Lee did an awesome job. Taking over Randy Rhoads. That's tough. That's a tough job, man.
Big shoes to fill.
And the backlash from that of him dying so young. It's like how do you come back from that?
Yeah.
But still, it's a damn good album.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, it is. Oh boy, these great memories with. But next up for me is Arrest for the Wicked. A great album. I think this might have been the first one with Zach Wild, right? That's when he came.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like Zach Wild. I know I joke about him a lot because we call him Zach the Harmonic Wild.
Yeah.
These days, he is always.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of great memories with this one. My favorite song in this one was always "Breaking All the Rules." That and "Miracle Man" because I love the.
Good stuff.
This album has that beefy sound. Like when you get to breaking all the rules and it's just. Oh God, I love it. I'm breaking
all the rules.
Oh, I could sing the whole song. Devil's Daughter. Yeah, the Miracle Man music video is so funny.
I love it.
I'm looking for a miracle man. Ozzy's great, you know.
Oh yeah.
Good choice.
Heck yeah.
It's my second favorite Ozzy solo album. Is going to be none other than his debut, Blizzard of Oz.
Yeah.
Nice.
Featuring the great Randy Rhoads, one of my favorite guitarists of all time. He was just such an amazing axe man. His shredding, his leads and solos, and they're just breathtaking, just phenomenal. He was just so good, so talented. It really is a shame that he was taken from us so young, but great album. I'm not really a fan of Crazy Train anymore. That song way too overplayed. It's just been beat across my face. It's been played to death. That song just needs to die. I'm just sick of it. I love the way it starts out. I'm just so sick of it. But yeah, Goodbye to Romance is a good song. Suicide Solution's a really good song. Mr. Crowley, I love that opening keyboard intro. It's just so awesome. Yeah, No Bone Movies. Yeah, just some great tracks. Off to a great start.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Randy Rhoads was a huge part of why this album was so great.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. Love the vinyl collection you got there.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Very impressive. Number two for me. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm trying to get No Rest for the Wicked on vinyl, but it's always so expensive.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, number two for me would be Blizzard of Oz.
Nice.
Don't ask me, I don't know. Like you said, Randy Rhoads, like holy shit, like he's unbelievable in those albums.
Sure.
Like I can't even imagine what he would have done after that.
Mm-hmm.
Would have got some awesome stuff. Like he could have potentially been the greatest ever.
Yep.
That's how good he is just in those two albums.
Yeah.
Crazy Train, Suicide Solution, Mr. Crowley. Yeah. Classics.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe that's why it's a number two, because it's almost so well known.
Yeah.
People probably consider it played out. The Suicide Solution, the controversy that surrounded that,
Oh yeah.
It's still a classic to me. I love it.
Hell yeah.
Cool cover too, like you just showed.
Yeah.
Excellent choice. Next up for me, coming in at number 2, Bark at the Moon. What can I say? It's Bark at the Moon. Love the album cover. The title track is classic. To me, I like Bark at the Moon better than Crazy Train.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
You're No Different. Now you see it, now you do. A great song. Rock and Roll Rebel. It's just, I love this era of Ozzy. Ozzy with
Yeah.
J.K. stuff like that. Yeah, J.K. Lee is just awesome at guitar, and he really is underdog of the Ozzy guitars because most people have Randy Rhoads or Zach Wilde.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, classic album. Bark at the Moon, one of the greatest music videos ever made. Yeah. I'm going to try and learn Bark at the Moon on guitar.
Me too.
So,
That's a sick riff, man.
yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
I love that part he does after that. Dun, 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 dun. Oh,
Excellent stuff.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So my number one is gonna have to be Diary of a Madman.
Oh
Nice.
Oh yeah, killer album.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the second and final appearance by Randy Rhoads.
Yep.
You got Over the Mountain, Flying High Again, You Can't Kill Rock and Roll, SATO, which is probably my favorite Ozzy track ever. I think it's very underrated. That's an awesome song.
Yeah.
I just love it. The title track, of course. Yeah, it's a great album. Yeah, it's just awesome. I just love Diary of a Madman. Always have.
Damn good choice.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. And that being my number one too.
Nice.
Yeah, I feel like it's even better than Blizzard.
Yeah.
Because it's not as played played
Yeah.
out as. But once again, phenomenal guitar work by Randy Rhoads. He just makes it, And Ozzy's voice is excellent too,
Yeah.
Over the mountain, flying high again. Classic. You can't kill rock and roll.
Hell yeah.
Diary of a Madman, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Very kind of harsh,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Great album.
Love it.
Awesome. Yeah. I can't say enough about Randy Rhoads.
Yeah, I can't
so
praise him
awesome.
enough. He's in my top 5 favorite guitarists ever.
Hell yeah.
I think he's a big reason why Ozzy made it without Black Sabbath, on his own.
Absolutely.
Those riffs are so memorable and so classic,
Yeah.
Just freaking shredding it.
Yeah, for sure.
My number one, I could go on and on about this damn album. It's one of my favorite albums ever. I know it front to back, and that is The Ultimate Sin.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
I truly wish I owned a physical copy, but like you said, it is very hard to get a goodly priced one.
Yeah.
But yeah, the title track, Secret Loser, Lightning Strikes, Shot in the Dark, probably my favorite Ozzy song of all time. I repeat listen to that song. Killer of Giants, and then the actual song, The Ultimate Sin. I always loved the part where Ozzy does something that you never really hear him do. And that's when he got demon raspy on that one part where he was like, it's the ultimate sin.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Favorite album cover for Ozzy, like you said, Sean, it's fantastic. I just love it, man. The Ultimate Sin is fantastic.
It is. Definitely one of the most underrated, like you said.
Yeah.
Probably is the most underrated.
I would agree. And it's very catchy too. Like secret loser, like loser, I'm a secret loser. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You gotta give the Ozman credit for surviving being kicked out of Black Sabbath, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Came back bigger than ever, you know. Probably
Yeah.
he was even bigger than Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Like, huge success, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
I did notice there wasn't any recent Ozzy stuff on here.
Yeah. I can't
Yeah.
the last one I listened to was Osmosis, and I did like that album, but it wasn't nearly as good, and
Yeah.
to me it was just downhill from there.
Pretty much.
I don't really like much after that at all, really,
Yeah.
to be honest.
The classic stuff is just too powerful.
You can't compare to that. It's 1980s too. You can't relive the 80s.
Yeah, I know. I remember when he did that song with Post Malone, and a lot of people were like, "Ooh, who's this Ozzy person?" I was like, Ozzy, the Prince of Darkness.
The Godfather of heavy metal.
Oh yeah.
One of them, anyway.
Sometimes I feel like the TV show might have had something to do with it too. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe he didn't focus on music as much because of that.
Right.
Or, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe he was looked at more comically because on that show he's so goofy and like, you know, kind of paints his badass image in a way.
Right.
Like, I'm the Prince of Dark.
Yeah, I saw a few episodes of the Osbournes. I remember one of them. He's like, "Who the hell touched bears? Those are my bears."
Turn the vacuum cleaner off. It's driving me mad, man.
Yeah. And, you know, as a lifelong fan of Ozzy, it truly does suck seeing as time go on. He is becoming more frail and more.
Yeah.
He's looking.
But for the time being, he's still kicking ass.
Yeah.
I heard him talk about he wants to have one last Black Sabbath show. Did you read that?
Yeah, I saw that.
With Bill Ward.
Bill Ward. Man,
Bill
that'd be
Ward was
awesome.
not part of the.
Right, the reunion. I would totally go see that.
It'd be cool. It'd be a nice way to end it, like a proper way.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a book. I know I have an Ozzy. I have Ozzy's autobiography somewhere.
Yeah, I've got that too. It's a great read.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah,
funny.
I have it too.
It's so funny.
It's hilarious. Like, it's one of the funniest things I've ever read.
Yeah, me too.
Just his stories, like, oh my god.
Yeah, wow.
Crazy.
He should have died like 100 times.
I know, right? But hey, he outlived so many of the
Yeah.
people that did die young from
Yeah.
that day, you know.
Right.
Didn't do too bad.
Yeah.
How old is he now? Like, what, 75 or something?
Something
How-
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the last album I listened to was Ordinary Man. That one that came out like 2021, something like that.
Yeah.
I listened to a little of the Patient Zero, and it was
Yeah.
It was like number one on the charts, though, didn't it? Didn't it reach
Yeah.
like number one on the charts?
I think so.
That was like the first time he ever did that.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever going to recapture the magic of, the heyday.
Classic era.
Yeah.
Yeah, he certainly made his mark on the movie Street, which, in honor of Ozzy, I'd like to say his line from Trick or Treat. Ready? Gonna drive my long steel missile down on your love channel. Deep, deep, you'll beg for more, raising hell and serpent score. Feel me, feel me. He looked so offended by that. He was like,
Yeah,
to you.
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
What do you think? He kind of did go the look of the hair metal for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
He did have that look, the big hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had the big hair and was on the drugs.
He's on the big drugs. Yeah, that's true.
Like,
Yeah.
you watch the live shows from the 80s, he is all over that stage.
Yeah.
Oh, it was both funny and sad because, don't do drugs, obviously. But he's Ozzy. What can you do?
I remember back like before the TV show era where everybody get to know him and thought he was just a fun old man or whatever. He was looked at as like some crazy nut, like, oh, because he bit the head off a bat in one of the shows. That's like how the average person knew him. Like it seemed like me. That crazy metal guy that bit the head off the bat.
He didn't even know it was alive. Like he didn't know it was. It wasn't alive. He didn't know it was. He thought it was like a toy or something.
Yeah,
that was like a rubber toy. He didn't know it was a real bat.
Which begs the question: who the hell just takes a bat into a concert and just?
I know.
Just throws a dead bat on stage.
Yeah. Did they know he was going to do that or what? It was a great show, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
This was a fun one. I can't wait for the next.
Excellent. I'll just say Ozzy is one of the godfathers of metal, along with obviously Tony Iommi. Them two together helped create metal, and can't ever forget him for that. He's iconic, absolutely iconic, and so important to the history of heavy metal. I have so much respect for him.
Absolutely.
And 1980s, fucking amazing time for horror.
Definitely. Hell yeah. Thanks everybody who joined us today here in the Morbid Hour on the Horror and Metal channel.
Oh yeah.
Till next time.
Show.
Hell yeah.
Have a good one, fellas.
Later.
Peace out, guys.
See ya.
Good night.
Good night.